Hello and welcome. We are used to having some very distinguished guests on the show, and today I have somebody who's a voice that's well heard, heard loudly, and across campuses, across young people, one that is highly respected for his sage advice and very timely advice that he gives. He's very candid. When he speaks, people listen. And that comes from the inner conviction of having done it before, having seen the movie before. As an entrepreneur, as a person who hears various voices and comes out with distilled commentary of his own, that's what makes him most followed. Please welcome Avelo Roy. Welcome, Avelo.
Thank you so much, Niranjan. Always a pleasure.
It's been some time since we spoke like this. The last time we spoke, the pandemic was reigning very strongly. Now, at least, that has ebbed. I know that you travel across the country. You run one of the most successful and largest incubators and accelerators, Kolkata Ventures. Today, what I'm interested in hearing from you is what are you hearing on the campuses from students regarding jobs? What's the buzz?
The Gen Z is a very different mindset than we are used to. They have seen the pandemic, the online education, working from home for their parents, and all that. And that has led to this new formed idea of work, which is as much a gig as possible, work from home, work from wherever you want, not having really one job, but multiple jobs, some freelancing on the side, some stock market investment. So people are much more aware of what is possible, and the willingness to work hard is a little less. Willingness to work smart is more, but even work smart requires some hard work. But I think there is a gap there where not everybody thinks that they have to really work that much, and the hunger in the belly is not there for everyone.
So, do you? So you touched upon an important word: the hunger, desire, drive. Every generation feels the next generation has less of it. Uh, it's true, right? You just have to speak to your parents, and they'll say how easy you had it in life. So,
Right.
to some extent, it is understandable. But yes, I do hear you. There is a larger issue at play here. But do you find any the geographical difference in that between north, south, east, west? Do you find there's a difference in the drive, hunger, or the kind of jobs people are willing to take up?
I see the geographical difference, but not in terms of north, south, east, west, but in terms of rural tier two, tier three cities versus metro cities. You belong to Bangalore, I belong to Kolkata. We are used to a certain level of lifestyle where quick commerce, 10 minutes away, anything you want, and all the facilities. But the ones who are stuck in villages or stuck in a little tier two, tier three cities, they seem to have more hunger. They seem to be more jugaru, and the way they think and the way they work with whatever they have is a little more inspiring than the ones who have it all.
Classic Bharat versus India divide, right?
Yes, yes, well said.
So some of the things that having visiting campuses, I hear from students that they are constantly being almost badgered about you are not job ready, you are not employable, you are educated but not employable. Now, in the past, and I know the industry has changed a lot, in the past, companies hired from campuses, trained people on the job for a significant amount of time, and then unleashed them on the production floor or wherever. Now, there seems to be less desire on the part of industry to do that, and they're expecting almost unicorn talent to walk out of colleges. First, is that a realistic expectation of educational institutes which are supposed to impart knowledge and information and not skills and competency, ready-made skills and competency? And second, where does that leave the student? I mean, they're completely confused in my view.
See, the students, their problem is their parents' problem and their problem. The industry that's hiring, they're looking for talent, work ethics, grit. If you have it, fantastic. If you don't have it, guess what? What a fresher can do, AI can do as well. Most of it. whether it's coding, whether it's design, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, ChatGPT or all the AI, outflow that is happening is very, very capable. And you are fortunate or unfortunate to be born at a certain time where you have to really keep up with your ability to do things and be likable and be ethical and be eager to do the work that you're given. If you don't have it, there are options, and the options don't have to be human options.
So how does a student on campus develop these things or exhibit it when they go for their first interview? What are the things they can do while they are on campus to exhibit that they have these traits or they pursued these traits?
See, at a certain time, it used to be skills only. That you have skills, fantastic, you can do work. Right now, you have to be a human, right? You have to have qualities and skills. Because I got to like you to invite you to my office and work from my office. If you are going to be a person who's going to give me tantrums and give me a headache, I'm sorry. There are many out there with skills, and you're not the only one, right? Number one. Number two is people have to understand, the students who are coming have to understand that it's not like at a certain point we didn't have calculators, but calculators came, all you got to do is use the calculator. Then computers came, all you got to do is use your computer. Internet came, so today, yeah, you're there as a human being. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there's para prakriti and there's apara prakriti. Apara prakriti is dull matter, para prakriti is conscious beings. So conscious beings is always going to be higher than apara prakriti or material things. So artificial intelligence is always lower than real intelligence. What is real intelligence? The ability to use artificial intelligence, right? The ability to use the tools that have been developed. The tools should not use you. You should be able to use the tools. So as a student, if you are able to do your homework using AI, if you're able to do your projects using AI, fantastic, good for you. We don't call it cheating. We say resourcefulness. Can you do more? Can you generate revenue? Can you do some sales? Can you do some transactions online? Can you connect two systems together to create something amazing? I'll give you an example that happened yesterday. There was an employee of mine who I fired, and he was a Gen Z guy who's like, I've been doing this for 6 months. I don't like it. I don't want to do this. Can you give me something else? I'm like, look, the skills you have is the skills of the work I've given you. Now I don't know if you have other skills. If you can show me something else you can do, I'll be happy to hire you for that. 3 months later, he sends me yesterday an audio recording of him talking to an AI telecaller with everything that we do at Kolkata Ventures and all the pricing and everything. This fellow knows. And the way he talks, the voice intonation, I was blown away. It's not a human being. And he's like, sir, this is ready. Well, are you going to take me back? Right? I'm like, I have no other option. I'm paying 25,000, 30,000 rupees to each telecaller. This fellow can replace all of them, saving me lakhs. Fantastic. 5 telecallers replaced by one, and it's completely automated and it does a fantastic job. So he's proved his skill. He's going to start working from 1st June.
I'm going to touch upon another aspect of this problem. So universities in the past, or even now, most students go there to find a job. Most of them. They have a kind of a understanding that if I spend 3 to 5 years here and I get a certificate with this stamp, it will help me get a job. So mostly they come with a fixed mindset. Now we have this whole entrepreneurship thing about having a growth mindset. Is it an unfair ask from universities to now produce entrepreneurs from a pool that came with a fixed mindset? That's one part of it. And second part, for job readiness, does an entrepreneurship stint on campus reflect well with potential employers?
So the first point is, yes, it is unfair to ask universities to come up with entrepreneurs because not everybody is built the same way. Just like we did that mistake with everybody has to be engineer or doctor. Same way. Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. It's a different mindset. It's a risk-oriented, skill-oriented, jugaru mindset, hacker mindset. Somebody wants to be an IAS, IPS, government servant, this, that, feel free. Second part, having entrepreneurship in your resume is a huge plus. Why? Because the moment you say that, you just proved that you are willing to go out of the ordinary, take that risk, and already you might know about team development, about some legal stuff, about compliance, about finance, about product development, about a lot of things that are not taught in your classroom. But by being in that environment, even being an intern in a startup, you would have been exposed to all of those things, which somebody else might not be. Hence, it's definitely an advantage. What to speak of if you've started a business and made some revenue and failed? Then you are gold, right? Because just the fact that you did it speaks volumes about you.
So that's one thing on campus that people can do, right? They can try entrepreneurship in groups, and just show that they have the mindset to think out of the box. They have made a plan. They have executed, built something. They have learned the elements of project management, products, etc., hands-on. And yeah, if they get a few paying clients, then they learn finance and customer service. So that's
Absolutely. And even internships in small startups can also be very, very helpful,
yeah,
very learning worthy.
yeah. So tell me something. When you hire somebody for whatever role, what is the few things that immediately you look for? Forget the resume. You meet the person. What is it that you look for? The one top of the mind, one or two things.
I'll say something very shallow and I'll be judged for it, but a smile. Once they walk in through the door, if there's a smile on the face, that instantly builds trust. It's a nice guy. Okay. We don't know we'll hire or not, but at least I'm talking to a person who's nice. Might not be nice, but the smile helps. That's the first thing. Second, as we converse, if I ask a question 3 times and they're not answering it, that's frustrating. So that means this person is not very ethical or has some problem that he doesn't want to share, not transparent. That's a red flag, right? I shouldn't have to ask you a question 3 times. You should be able to give me what I'm asking. So, in a person, if you really sum it up, 3 things: ethics, enthusiasm, and skill. If you're enthusiastic and skilled but not ethical, and this is Warren Buffett, I'm stealing from him, right? Then you're a very dangerous person for the organization because you're smart, you can get people excited, but you're unethical. You can do a lot of garbage. So it's important that the ethics is the first part, that you will not be a cancer in my organization,
Okay.
right? And the rest follows. Skills can be taught if the person is humble. But if it's an all knowing person, then you know what? You know it all. So you can't grow.
Okay. So the at least in my time, you're much younger. The only time an employer actually knew about me was when I turned up in front of them. Now, then came phones. You could hear the voice. Then came video. You could see them. Now you have all social media. How much does social media profiling play a part nowadays in actually getting jobs?
A lot of the legacy companies don't do it, but the
Mhm.
new age companies for sure look at your LinkedIn. That's the first. And some might even look into your Instagram just to see if you are somebody who, the kind of personality you are, the kind of friends you have, and do you really fit in with the company structure. Another thing is to know, how you speak in front of me and who you are in real life. Generally before finalizing someone, a lot of the new companies are doing a little bit of social media audit, not to judge, but to understand that who this person really is. And that does play. Now, it is not something you can say is industrial psychology type, metric, but the hiring manager might use it to make an emotional decision that whether they like the person or not.
So,
It
what will
does play
be
a role.
what will be a couple of things that should not be there on your social media?
Pictures of you completely wasted, or saying things that might be against a nation or religion or a gender, sexual orientation, things like that. Really politically incorrect things, things to do with narcotics, right? Just extremes. Just be a decent human being as much as possible. Of course, there's a fun aspect. Everybody does fun things, and that should be there in social media. But if it is something that can make people judge you or put you at a risk that, oh, this person can be a risky person, right? For example, if you are bad mouthing your past employer and writing a lot of negative things on social media, chances are I will be like, hey, if a fight breaks up between us, you're going to do the same to me. So I'd rather not take that risk, you know, to bring you on board. You're just a
Yeah,
person who just shouts and fights on social media with your camera and all.
that's fair advice. Actually, I will ask you a shallow question too, because when the employers who hire mostly are generally older, I'm talking of freshers being hired, right?
Generic what?
Are older.
Older. Hmm.
When you hire freshers, the people hiring are generally older. Even if it's an HR manager, they may be 5 to 10 years older.
Yes.
And the way they professionally groom or expect grooming versus the students we see on campus, be the hair, be the clothes, be the shoes. You think that plays a part in the hiring manager's mind, the grooming part of it?
They will not say it does, but it does. And this is coming from industrial psychology, where I have studied that in college, and it's a known fact that we have biases. We are only humans. So anybody from any background will have their own biases. And when you see somebody with a mohawk or a piercing, it's going to have an initial effect. Having said that, that shallow effect can be overcome with skills, communication, decency, politeness, and all of that. The first impression is not the last impression. There are many times first impressions can be overcome with the rest of the interview, and it works beautifully.
I agree with you. Sometimes it's a dilemma for people like me that, should we keep that filter in mind or not? I'm thinking of my clients, right? Would they respond well to this person groomed this way? On the other hand, I'm thinking, I have to leave this world to this generation and go. This is how they are. So, how strict should I be about it? I guess it's difficult, but when it comes to client facing roles, obviously, we have an expectation. Like we expect pilots, doctors, nurses to dress a particular way. You wouldn't be happy with a doctor operating on your heart who walks in with torn jeans and is, wasted the previous night. So
Correct.
I guess there is some role specificity there.
And honestly, LNG, even in the Gen Z, it's not everybody's like that. I do see, I mean, I hire a lot of interns from IIMs and IITs, and I do see very sincere folks who are who have actually used the resources that are at hand, not only in their campus but also abroad. Right? They're taking not only they're studying in their esteemed institution, but they're also learning from American institutions and European institutions. Open courseware and things like that. So it's not all that there's a certain way with the mohawks and the pink hair and the blue hair and all of that. There are people who are better than our generation, I feel, who have really taken all the resources and they're 10 years ahead of their time, in terms of what they're capable of. And that's truly appreciable. That
Yeah,
story is also there.
yeah. So, coming back to the job readiness part of it, uh, speaking to a lot of students, they are very keen. Tell us what needs to be fixed, we'll fix it. But
Yes,
be clear what you want, okay?
yes,
And the industry also knows the problem, what they want. So industry knows the problem, students know the problem. The university management, which has sunk capex in the land, the building, and the curriculum, etc. Typically, not always, typically, they set up a university where they got land. They started teaching things for which they got curriculum and lecturers. And then when the students started passing out, then they now hope and pray industry will hire them. They did not do what we advise entrepreneurs. Go to a client, find out if there is a problem they're willing to pay for, and then come back. So they didn't go to the industry and say, if I set up a university here, what would you like me to teach them? And then source that and then find the right students, etc. They typically took anybody who was willing to pay, and then now they're hoping and praying they get a job. What would your advice be for universities? What can they do? How do they make the mindset shift? Because the students are ready, the industry is ready, they are kind of in the way. What advice do we give them?
I will repeat the words of the economic advisor to the Prime Minister, which is Sandeep Sanyal. We spent a weekend with him, and he said something very interesting. He said, down the line, universities are going to not be educational places, but they will take the exams to standardize and approve that yes, you have your knowledge up to the level that is required, and they'll certify it with a diploma or a degree that you're ready. You know what your subject matter is, because so much knowledge, more than the professors know, is available on the internet, through YouTube, through ChatGPT, through so many options. People don't need classrooms to study. So universities are going to be the custodians of standard and quality of education, where exam takers and certifiers.
Interesting. Interesting. And how do the universities evolve into, with Industry 4.0, where the curriculum changes every 2 weeks? Uh, how do they keep up? I sympathize with them as well. They are bound by regulation. There's a regulation that says the course has to be X number of hours. But if somebody wants to learn generative AI, he can learn it in a week. It doesn't need to sit a full semester. How do they cope with that? Is micro credentials the answer? Is industry the answer? What do they do?
So you said the word Industry 4.0, and that is something that cannot be learned sitting at home. You need to visit the industries. For example, my university, Illinois Institute of Technology, we have a wind tunnel. We have a very advanced aerospace degree that our university offers. Now, wind tunnel you can't experience at home.
Yeah.
For that, you have to be practically there and try different things and engines and whatnot, or whatever they have. So, Industry 4.0, what innovation is possible? What is Industry 4.0? It requires a lab, it requires a setup, it requires infrastructure. And I feel that's where universities are very relevant, because those are the kind of things that you need an infrastructure, a building, a setup for. But things that don't require infrastructure, professors speaking out whatever they know, sorry to say, those professors have been already replaced,
Yeah.
right?
It's interesting you say that, because if you look at what is expected from an employee, there are four parts to learning, right? Information, knowledge, skills, and competency. Information, the internet has taken over. Data dumps, you can learn it anywhere. Knowledge, Q&A. There are people sitting on Instagram giving their lifetime's worth in 1 minute reels. Skills, yes, on the job, in a classroom setting, teamwork, and competency while actually doing it through internship. But it requires labs, because Industry 4.2 is practicing sciences like medicine, flying, etc. You need labs, people need to do hands on, etc. So there is investment required in that, without a doubt. That's well said. I'll go back to entrepreneurship. Uh, when you go across universities, there is a bit of a clinical statistical approach to entrepreneurship, right? There are targets. We need so many entrepreneurs. We need so many startups, etc. And there is a kind of while I like the whole movement towards entrepreneurship, this statistical approach, do you think it is sustainable that we have put a target that we need so many entrepreneurs to come out of the college this year?
I'll be honest with you, Dalinji. Kolkata Ventures manages a lot of entrepreneurship programs, and a lot of them, the professors are under a lot of pressure from the management from the university. And this number thing you mentioned is like sales team, pushing, and they'll do anything to fudge numbers and show. So basically, the idea is, okay, when you have a website for your startup and you have the Udyam Aadhaar card and you have the PAN card and the bank account number, you're done. You're a startup. We have made you an entrepreneur. Fantastic. The university gets the credit, and the government will shower all the grants that they will get. That's the idea, to get grant money from the government, and the government requires some proof. And here is a proof. Now you and I both know, you can create a WordPress website in 5 minutes. You can pay 500 rupees and you have the mother card, a bank account. These things don't cost more than 10,000 rupees. To incorporate a private limited company, 8,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, you're done. So that doesn't take much. But is that really a business that hires people, creates jobs, creates innovation? No, right? So yes, yeah, absolutely, I am in concurrence with you, and I fight with the universities. I I should not name. It's a big IIT, who did a 90-hour project with us. And the lady who was coordinating it, she said, Avelo, we just need pictures of people in some industry visit. And every day when they're having lunch, we should have a picture of that. They're having lunch. That's it. You don't have to work so hard. Look, that's not how I work. I'm not doing it because I have to do it. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it. I want to create entrepreneurs. And they're like, you're wasting your time. And Nalinja, I tell you, that lady was charging the government 15,000 rupees to come from her university to Kolkata campus, which is a 4-hour car ride.
Yeah, I understand, and I feel your pain.
It's
And
painful.
painful. And there are two words that always trigger me on campus when students speak it. One, when a job seeker says, "What package will I get?" That triggers me. And the second, when an entrepreneur on campus says, "Valuation," without creating any value. It really is a trigger, because then you don't know where to start the conversation. What do I tell this person? You have no clue in entrepreneurship how tough life is. On campus, you're so shielded. So yeah, those two are my trigger words, favorite trigger words on campus. You have to keep your middle-age anger in check when people trigger you like that. Okay, we are coming to the end of this, but what I really want to end with is, what is your advice? Think of a student on campus, not the IIT, IIMs, normal average student
Mhm.
who is hungry for a job. I'm not talking of the IB educated, foreign seeking
Right.
university students. Those are class apart. I always recommend that they go overseas and find a life there and not seek it here, because they're not going to get one here of any satisfaction. So, normal average Joe looking for a job, very hungry, completely confused of being told why they are not job ready. The professors don't know what they're talking about. They have never been to industry themselves. Uh, what do they do? What are the two or three things you recommend they do outside of their college curriculum, which they have already paid for, etc., which will enhance their employability?
I would say do life projects, right? If you get it from the university, great. If you don't, create your own project. You see a problem, you try to solve it, and when you're learning to solve it, figure out what are the technologies, what are the things. When you do something like I did this when I was in class 8, I decided I'm going to build a banking software, and at that time, Q Basic and Basic were taught in ICSE schools. Basic means very basic, right? Somehow or other I tried to build it. In the process I learned coding like no tomorrow, right? I learned UI UX as a class 8 student. So point is, if you build a project, what will happen is you will learn from multiple facets. And when you go for the job interview and they ask you what do you know, you will be able to tell them this is what I know from the project I did, which looks like this. You can even show something. I remember I was hiring someone in the US, and this guy, so there was like multiple people coming, they know how to code and phone apps and whatnot. And this fellow just showed me on the App Store that these are the two apps that I developed. One has 50,000 downloads with 4.5-star reviews. The other one has 25,000 downloads with so and so reviews. And I said, please don't go anywhere. Stay here. Tell me how much you want and just work with me. Right? That's what it means. So if you do a project, you can actually talk about it. This is my initiative I took outside classroom. This is what I learned and this is what I built. It might be imperfect. It might not be even complete. But you can say, I tried. And from it, this is what I learned. That's what sets you ahead of other people because it shows intent. It shows that you're willing to take on the struggle. It shows you're willing to learn, be jugaru, be resourceful, right? And you are a person who thinks outside the box, who likes doing this, who's not just like, to pay my bills, I have to do something.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
hobby
very
for me.
sage advice, because people do want doers nowadays than theoreticians. They have enough of that on the internet for free. Thank you very much, Avelo. You are insightful as usual. I have watched your videos, shorts, not only on entrepreneurship, but on life and philosophy as well. I wish you the very best. You are a voice that needs to be heard by the young people again and again and again. And everywhere I go, I always recommend to students that they should follow you. because you not only speak from the heart, you speak practically of what people should do. So, for example, what you just said, you could have easily said they need to develop problem solving skills, critical thinking skills, they need to have self management skills. No, just do a project. If you do a project, you will learn all of these through that. With that, thank you very much. All the best, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you so much, Nalinji. Always a pleasure.